are you?
I'm good.
We are in Las Vegas for, I don't know, a little show that brings a bunch of hackers together.
Absolutely, Black Hat.
Black Hat. It's a good week. How's it been for you?
Been very busy,
Yeah.
Really interesting. Yes.
Good conversations?
Yes.
Yeah? Anything stand out from you, from something that you had to chat with somebody?
Well, I mean, there's so many things to choose from, but I think that a lot of the shifts are obviously being driven by AI, the adoption of frontier AI, for good, for bad.
Right.
Finding the right balance between adopting AI, in terms of the CIO and driving the business, but also protecting the enterprise.
Right.
And finding the right place to be there is a big challenge for a lot of companies.
I love it. So tell me about your role at HPE Enterprise.
At HPE, I lead the SASE and security business inside the HPE Networking business.
All right. So you get to talk to all kinds of cool people.
Yeah, I think so.
And they get to talk to you,
Yeah.
cool people, cool person as well. Let's give folks a quick rundown of HPE, because people probably see you as a hardware vendor, maybe see you in networking, may or may not recognize security as a big pillar. So maybe an overview of all the stuff that you have.
So I think just very briefly, HPE is obviously known for its server and compute business, and that's a part of it. We also do storage, we do management systems for virtualized and containerized infrastructure. And then to kind of my area, about a third of the business now, as we've merged with Juniper, is around networking. And then our networking business, we organize with kind of 4 pillars. Campus and branch, which is all about wired and wireless LAN. There's data center switching for both the traditional data center and for AI. There's our routing infrastructure solutions team, which is, produces the routers that are used throughout the internet by most major cloud providers, big enterprises. And then the 4th pillar is SASE and security, the one that I lead.
Right. So as you are engaging with prospects and customers, I'm sure you get to hear all kinds of stories of what they're trying to accomplish. And I think you have a unique perspective beyond what a lot of the other vendors on the show floor have, in terms of the availability and the performance and the ability to actually drive and deploy innovations across the organizations, obviously safely and securely, given your role and your pillar. So what are some of the things you're hearing where organizations are really pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries on innovation to really transform what they're doing?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things is HPE, we've got a very broad portfolio. So we're talking with customers across everything, from compute through storage, through networking, looking at across all the things they're doing with AI. And I think one of the common themes is people are trying to work out how to push hard and adopt AI, but at the same time be able to make sure that they are protected and not exposing themselves to undue risk. Another kind of balancing act is from the networking side, the networking team's always responsible for performance, giving users a great experience. The security teams there protecting those users, protecting the company's data. And often the two things are pulling maybe in slightly different directions.
Right.
And one of the opportunities we have with HPE is to help the different parts of the IT organization align and work together. So as we think about security, we've got a security portfolio, but we're also embedding security thinking in everything we're doing in the network to make the network a sensor for the security team and an enforcement point for the security team.
Right. And obviously maybe we'll touch on the PQC stuff, the security of the devices that all this stuff is running on too. I want to stick with kind of the operations, what teams are trying to accomplish, because I think, I don't know if it's right or not, but when we look at the CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability often, in my experience, gets dropped. And performance is key. Certainly IT, the CIO and the IT folks, networking folks, try to provide the performance and the experience. But it's also critical that those things stay up and running from a security perspective, availability. So how I guess this is where I'm going. So you mentioned the user experience.
Yes.
Users aren't just humans anymore,
No.
right? They're spinning up personas and agents with skills that extend them as employees and partners and customers. How does that world look now, and how has it changed where networking and availability and security have to adapt to that new frontier? If you will?
So one thing is about thinking about it as in terms of human and non-human identities,
Right.
and so for a long time, we've as a company talked about, yes, there's the human identities, and securing them with things like zero trust network access is very important, but we also need to think how we apply zero trust to IoT devices, all of the streaming video coming off those cameras or electronic door locks. And so that's an important class of non-human identity. But as you call out, I think the kind of number one conversation around identity is around identity for those agents.
Right.
And so ideally what we believe is you want to take the ZTNA architecture that works for people and adapt it for non-human identity. So
Right.
first for IoT devices, for workloads, and for agents. And with that, you can put your agents in a sandbox. You can make it so when the agent is accessing resources, it can only see the subset that it's supposed to. So it doesn't see the rest of the network. It's seeing a network that's only exposed with the things that it should be able to use and utilize.
So I've had a few chats over the years with Juniper, and then now with HPE. We chatted with Munir Ahad not too long ago, and great work that he and the team and your
he's
team
part
are
of
doing.
he's part of my team.
Doing with the research lab and everything there. So give folks an overview of what's going on with that, and maybe some of the changes that you're addressing to tackle the world of AI, and then maybe we'll talk about.
So one of the big things we announced earlier in the year is HPE Threat Labs. So Munir's team from Juniper forms the core of that Threat Labs, and it's really we're investing in with the rest of the cybersecurity community to make sure we're all pooling resources to share information about threats, to research what's going on, to obviously improve our products, but to benefit everyone overall as well. I think that for us, this year we've also been introducing on the next-gen firewalls a bunch of AI-focused capabilities in terms of first observability, but then also governance in terms of what services employees are able to use based on their role, and then going deeper into sessions, looking at what's going on there, looking at the prompts, looking at the responses, making sure people aren't cutting and pasting in information they shouldn't.
Right.
So that's been a major focus for us.
Two different ways we can go. I'll let you kind of choose your own adventure here. I want to touch on PQC.
Yes.
I also want to touch on kind of the full experience of working with HPE. So should we do PQC first? I'm interested in what you're seeing there. Again, I think that's going to be an innovation that hits us, and it's also an area that brings a lot of risk when it comes to fruition from a cryptography perspective. So what are you and the team doing relative to that?
Yeah, so AI is the thing that's top of mind for people because the threat's right here and now, but the kind of next wave coming after that one is the post-quantum cryptography or quantum computing, which breaks current cryptography, which really forces people to move to new ciphers. The threat obviously doesn't just start on quantum day one, whenever that is. It's existing today as people harvest data and can come back and decrypt that later. So we do think it's something that the cybersecurity teams need to be keeping in mind and need to be planning for. At HPE, we're moving aggressively across all of our product lines to introduce quantum resistant and quantum safe capabilities. So
hardware and
firmware, software. We've already launched stuff this year, and more through the coming quarters. So it's a major initiative for us. I think the the degree of risk and the degree of priority maybe varies by industry, but it's a very important topic, and maybe one that is some people want to put it aside, and let's get to that later.
Right.
But for us, I think it's really important that yes, we need to be leveraging AI to find and fix vulnerabilities ready for this kind of big post-Mythos wave.
Right.
But beyond that, we also need to be thinking about that post-quantum future.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad we covered that first, because I think it folds well into how I want to ask the question about the experience. So clearly, networking folks and IT are tasked with delivering an experience for typically customers,
Yes.
but also employees. But they often get left out of the scenario of what about me and my own experience. And I think there's something to be said by the breadth and depth of what HPE provides that I'm going to guess makes their lives easier as they're budgeting and buying hardware and setting up networks and supporting teams, doing all the things they need to do with AI and other software, and also tying in the risk level and the threat levels. So IT, you mentioned earlier, so maybe describe a little more kind of the experience of IT and security working together, and the benefit of doing that with HPE and all that you have to offer.
So, kind of fundamental vision is around self-driving. So self-driving network and, self-protecting infrastructure. We've got to move there because of the rate at which threats are moving. For us, allowing the networking team and security team together is really about shared visibility, so that you've got equal access to information. And even though you may be using a different console, you may have different personas, you really want to be able to utilize all of the information that's at hand. So a big piece of what we're doing is using an agentic mesh. There's agentic technology in each of our offerings, whether it's how we manage storage, how we manage compute, how we manage networks, or how we manage our security products. Having those meshed together so that as we are looking to root cause, problem might come in, I'm having trouble accessing this app, it must be the Wi-Fi. So it starts out as a Wi-Fi problem, but it may turn out that as we go through, no, it's not DNS, that would be one possibility.
It's always DNS.
But perhaps it's, the security team made some change to policy and that's been rolled out on the firewall, and now that person is being blocked from doing what they wanted to do. And maybe it's the right answer, maybe it's not, but the key here is it starts out as an app problem, a user experience problem, but it finds its way to security. And we want to be able to automate that RCA and have that cross-domain troubleshooting happen as fast as possible, and then ideally automatically remediate. So, I think we've made a lot of progress on the networking side with our Marvis AI technology. In terms of being able to automatically identify problems, even cross-domain, not just in the network. And by tying in with what we're doing in security and other parts of HPE, we're going to be able to broaden that value proposition. And so that sharing of data, but also the agentic exchange of information is something that we believe is going to help all those teams work better together.
So, final word, because I like this concept of self-healing and autonomous recovery. And so how, a call to action for the CIOs and the CSOs listening to this, how can they come together and connect with you with a story that's going to enable you to help them succeed?
Yeah, well, we've obviously got a big sales force, lots of partners. So I think most of them will know how to reach out to us. But we have a worldwide team of SASE and security specialists. So we, well known in compute, well known in networking, maybe lesser known in security. But we absolutely want to be a partner with the CISO, and so I'd really encourage them to reach out to their HPE rep or partner and then get connected with our SASE and security team, because we'd love to engage with the CISO and explain with them how, with our overall portfolio, we can help with some of those thorny problems that are cross-domain.
Thorny problems. They're always there.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can help clear them out.
Okay, thank you.
David, appreciate your time.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Stay tuned for more coming from ITSPmagazine here at Black Hat.
Thank you.